Fishy, fishy, fishy! What is going on, fishy friends? Alright, down here in the fish room, I feel like it has been forever since I've had a chance to do an update down here. Life has just been kicking me in the butt, and I've been busy. I mentioned a couple weeks ago I was trying to do a remodel in the kitchen. That has been taking up most of my time, and I've barely had any time to come down here to do my normal maintenance. So let's take a quick walkthrough and see what's what. Yesterday I got down here and did a lot of big water changes. As a matter of fact, I only got to fill this Discus tank back up halfway because my hot water heater was completely tapped out, and all I had left was cold water, so I decided to just fill that tank partially. And that looks like it was a perfectly fine choice. Everything is fine. Gave a big scrubbing over here in the 55. Got a bunch of algae off the glass. Did a big water change over here. These two koi angels are looking real nice. Colors are looking good in them. They're starting to put on a little size finally. These two I've had longer than these 5 over here, and these 5 over here just got huge. This tank was filthy yesterday. It's still pretty filthy today, even after a lot of maintenance yesterday, but the fish are doing fine. There's a lot of glare on this tank. Let's see. That's a little better. I don't know if I've ever talked about this. What I did over here, I ended up hanging, I strung some vinyl coated wire through the room, and I got some curtains over here. And that way, I can close the curtain and get rid of the glare on that tank to make filming a little bit easier. So they're doing well. Down here, these guys are all looking good. Same thing, this tank was filthy yesterday. It had been at least a couple of days since I had a chance to do my water changes. It's, I don't know, still dirty and/or dirty again. Definitely still needs some good scrubbing. The Epistogramma cockatoides. There's my male looking good. The female has been back here guarding the cave yesterday, and I noticed maybe a little bit today. I don't see her there now. I can't see in there well enough because of all the plant growth to see if there are eggs in there or not. But they are doing well, and it looks like she is just about ready to spawn again. I did a big trimming in this tank the other day. Got some of the stuff that have been growing up to the top and bending over taken care of. I'm liking the way this tank is looking right now. This has been through a couple of different iterations down here in my fish room. I've had it planted and then tore everything out and replanted it once or twice, but I'm liking the way it's going right now. These two over here, like I had said a while back, I had changed some of my methods over here, and I went for a while without doing a water change. I think the last update I did on this tank was when I had this tank only about half full. I kept it that way for a while. It was about a week or so. And then luckily I grabbed my my API testing kit, because I honestly hardly ever test the water parameters in any of my tanks down here. I do water changes often enough where there should never be any discernible readings of ammonia or nitrite in any of my tanks. Nitrate readings I might test once in a while in certain tanks, but again, I keep up with the maintenance often enough that for the most part you never see anything to worry about. But since I had gone about a week or so without doing a water change on this particular tank, which is definitely not my normal routine, I decided to test the water and see what was up, and I was getting actually a pretty high ammonia reading, which really scared me. Anybody who's been in this hobby for a while knows that any discernible ammonia reading is almost certain death for any fish. That's why when you have a brand new tank and an uncycled filter, typically you want to do what's referred to as the fishless cycle and get the tank parameters up to par. Really what you're trying to do is allow the beneficial bacteria to grow on the filters, which consumes ammonia, because you want zero ammonia at all times in any aquarium. So the ammonia was up past 1 part per million on this. I immediately started doing big water changes, and it looks like there's been no harm, no foul. But these fish still haven't spawned, even after trying that different tactic of not doing water changes, and then once I did do a water change, I dropped the temp by a couple of degrees, and it still didn't seem to help. But the fish are healthy. Them not breeding is no indication of poor health or anything like that. They got nice high erect fins, no clamped fins. Nothing that makes me think they're sick or unhealthy. I just wish they would start breeding for me again. 72 boat front is doing well. I pulled out a lot of these floaters in here. I got a ton of floating pennywort. Unfortunately, it looks like some duckweed made its way into this tank. I tried to remove as much of that as I could yesterday. Oh, as a matter of fact, here it is in this bucket. Ton of duckweed, a ton of that pennywort. I tried something a little bit different for removing the duckweed yesterday, and it worked well. What I did was I take a cup, and what I do is just drop it below the water level, and it sort of sucks the duckweed in. It is a time-consuming process, and anyone who has ever inadvertently gotten duckweed into a tank knows what a pain in the ass it can be to remove. One little flake of this stuff, and it just populates a tank and covers the top of it, and it is quite invasive, and I hate the stuff. I never went out of my way to try to get it. It must have hitchhiked its way in on some other plant. Now I have it in this tank. I noticed a little bit over here in the 55 yesterday. And over here, in the tank with the tetras, I am just covered with it. I don't know if I'll be able to see it too well, but it looks like you can almost walk on the surface of that tank because of all the duckweed. It has its purposes. It is helping to shade this tank so I don't get much algae growth down here on the substrate and everything. But I dislike the way it looks. I got a ton of it down here in this tank, which used to house my cherry shrimp, but is now just, there's nothing alive in this tank except for plants, and I don't do anything except let that stuff grow. You can see how much water has evaporated since the last time I touched this tank. What else? What else? Some of the trimmings I took out of the 20 long, I ended up putting over here in this 10 gallon with the rummy nose. The Hygrophila compacta. There's 1, 2, 3 trimmings I took out of the other tank and put in here. Did I put anything else in here the other day? I honestly don't remember. I've been in the process of cycling this tank. I had started shooting some footage about that to show how to do a fishless cycle. I've lost some of that footage, so when I get around to setting up this next tank, I'll make sure I do that and show everybody my process as far as dosing a tank with some ammonia. Over here, the pair of red covers. They're doing good. Their appetite has me concerned. They don't seem all too interested in food all of a sudden. They're not showing any other indications of anything being wrong with them, but they're not eating voraciously the way they had been when I first got them. They might be a little too busy thinking about trying to spawn again. They've been grilling that cone, they've been staring at it. Of course right now they're not even looking at it, but they've been actively cleaning it, and every day I expect I'm going to see eggs because they spend so much time looking like they're preparing for a spawn. And for some reason, they just don't actually spawn. But the colors look great. There's the female running away from me. There's the male over here with that blue eyebrow of his. But these are beautiful fish. And hopefully they'll keep on spawning for me because I have not yet figured out if this guy here is actually a male. I'm 90% sure that one in the back is a female. The one in the front could also be a female. But I'm hoping it's just a male who is not yet mature enough to successfully complete a spawn. The ram's over here. This is the tank that has a mix of a couple of males and a couple of females. I got 4 left over here in this tank. And then down here, let me get the light back on. Down here are the 5, what were supposed to be 5 females I got from that breeder Unite. Ended up being 4 females and a male, but the fish all look good and healthy. This tank is way down low in the basement, doesn't have a good light on it, so the true beauty of these fish doesn't really show up. I'll have to see if I can pop a light on there temporarily to get some good footage of these guys one day. I had 2 that looked like they were pairing off for a little bit. That's when I first determined that I didn't get 5 females, and the breeder took care of that issue for me by refunding some of my money. But they're not yet pairing off and spawning for me, so hopefully they end up doing that for me shortly. My little girl's glowfish tank. You know, this is not something I talk about often. I'm not the biggest fan of glowfish. Everybody's got their opinions on them. My biggest beef with them is that they're overpriced. They are modified in the sense that they were crossbred with jellyfish, I believe, to get this glow color. I don't have as much of a problem with that, only because these fish will spawn and their offspring will naturally have the same color. So, you know, from a scientific or genetic standpoint, I don't know if I have as much of a moral dilemma as some people seem to have with these fish. The dilemma I do have is the price that the Glowfish company, I think it's owned by Tetra now even, I don't remember, I know I looked into this recently. They charge an astronomical price for this. Obviously, it is just a gimmick to attract people who are either not involved in the hobby yet, and it obviously catches the eyes of little kids. My little girl loves these things. But they charge an arm and a leg for no reason. They also try to claim that it's a copyrighted, I don't know, a copyrighted genetic mutation that they created, and supposedly they'll go after people who actively try to breed these fish. Now, how you're supposed to prevent nature from happening in the right conditions is beyond me, and I would have a good laugh at somebody if they ever tried to come after me legally to say I shouldn't be doing that. I'm not actively trying to breed those fish, but on one of the forums I frequent, somebody had been actively trying to breed them. He was outside of America, so he basically laughed at everybody telling him what you're doing is illegal, and he said, well, good luck, I'm in South Africa, I don't think they're going to care. The fact that that the Glowfish company goes out of their way to announce on their website that no one is allowed to breed those fish is ridiculous, if you ask me. Anyway, end of rant. Well, back to rant. Anyway, that's why I don't talk too much about this tank. It's my little girl's, and she loves it, and it gets her involved in the hobby, and that's all that matters. The Tiger Turks, they're doing good. They are eating well, their pattern is beautiful, the fish all look good and healthy. Everybody's hiding out in the back corner right now, I'm not exactly sure why. They do seem a little skittish. I think I have to think about upgrading and moving them into a bigger tank sooner rather than later. And I think my plan there is I'm going to take them and put them over here where the angelfish are. I'll probably put them up into this tank for a little bit, and I think what I'll probably do is take the angelfish, and maybe what I'll do is put a couple down here in the 55-gallon tank with these two Discus and let them all keep growing out. Maybe I'll try to put some into the planet tank over here. Maybe I'll try to put some in the planet tank over here. I'm not 100% sure what my plan is yet. So that's about it. Take a quick walkthrough again. I don't know if I ever really just pan out and zoom through the room here. Anybody new to my channel, welcome. Click that subscribe button below. Comment, rate, subscribe, let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing. Give me a thumbs down if you don't. If you're one of those people who likes to give a thumbs down, be a man about it. Tell me what it is you don't like. There's nothing more I hate than seeing a thumbs down on a video and no explanation as to why. I know I obviously can't please all the people all the time. That's fine, I don't expect to, but let me know what's up. Alright guys, that's it. I'm out of here. I will talk to you guys soon. Hopefully I will be back with another update within a week and kind of back to my normal schedule. I know I missed a week in there because of life, but hey, it happens. Alright, later guys.